Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing new October cozy mystery releases. It is officially spooky season and we have a massive 25 new cozy mystery releases for October. I don't even know how I'm gonna get through all these, so let's just dive into this. Our first book is part of the Mountain Lodge mystery series. It is book 3 in the series. It's written by Diane Kelly and it's called Snow Place for Murder. This will be released on October 24th, 2023. So our main character in this is Misty, and this one takes place in North Carolina. Basically, there's this international resort developer, Nigel Goodwin. He's traveled all the way from London to Misty Murphy's little corner of North Carolina, and they bought out the mountaintop lodge for the week prior to Christmas. His goal is to pitch an exclusive new resort concept to wealthy American investors. But a lot of the locals are kind of uneasy. They're at odds with this. They're worried about the different things this might bring along, and the weather starts to get really bad, and a group of locals actually gets trapped at the lodge because they were trying to tell Mr. Goodwin why they were worried about this, and Misty actually has to call local police to intervene. I'm assuming things are getting kind of heated between everyone there when the handyman is plowing the lodge's drive in an attempt to kind of create a more holiday atmosphere and make like a little like sledding area for the guests to enjoy. And on top of all this, Misty's boys are home from college for winter break. They're planning to spend their time snowboarding at the ski resort, and when they are taking a few runs down that sledding hill that the handyman made, they discover a strange looking rock. Unfortunately, it's not actually a rock, it's the frozen nose of Nigel Goodwin, who's found dead and buried under the mound of snow. So the question is, who did the developer in, and can they solve it before Christmas? I love the idea for this series. I think the cover for this is darling. I mean, how cute is this cat? And I can't wait for cold weather, so this is perfect. Let's go. This next one has a really unique cover. It's called Last Word to the Wise, a Christie bookshop mystery. It's book 2 within the series, written by Anne Claire, and this will be coming out on October 3rd. So this one has a really fun concept. We have 2 Christie sisters, Ellie and Meg, and their cat Agatha, and they run like a historical bookshop, and someone actually pitches the idea to them to do like a matchmaking service based on like book preferences, which I love this idea. But both the sisters are kind of like, okay, our romantic lives are in shambles, we're not exactly the best for this, but they agree to it, and they actually go on dates as well themselves. And Ellie's date turns out to be a flop, but Meg actually has a really great time. It turns out the guy's romantic, he shares all the same tastes as her. She is so excited. She wakes up the next morning, she's got a little romantic flush, and unfortunately her date stands her up because he is found dead. And now the police are actually on her case because she has like an ex who comes out of the woodwork and like throwing stuff around about her, and like maybe she was one of the last people to see him, something like that, I'm assuming. What a cool cover. I think this is really pretty. I usually like the more illustrated like scenes that cozy mysteries have, but I like the color combination for this. I think it's really pretty. For those of you that like historical fiction, you'll like this next one. It's a Lady Emily mystery. It is book 17 in this series, written by Tasha Alexander, and this one is called A Cold Highland Wind. It'll be coming out on October 3rd, and it takes place in the summer of 1905. And Lady Emily and her husband and 3 sons are going on a family vacation to this other like estate, like castle, and while they're there, tragedy strikes when the gameskeeper for the estate is actually found brutally murdered. And while Lady Emily's there, she also starts to learn about the rumors around one of the past like mistresses of the castle. Like one of the ladies, she was actually thrown out by her husband, and she actually had a slave girl who helped her spirit away some of her most prized belongings, which was like a set of these strange books. And it's very intriguing, but she was later found like in a cottage with like some things that kind of screamed like witchcraft, and she was chased down, and I don't think she had a very happy ending, unfortunately. So now, hundreds of years later, Lady Emily is now looking for the link between Lady McAllister, who had this tragic end, and the gameskeeper today. So it sounds like a really interesting mystery. This does take place in the wild Scottish Highlands, so a beautiful location. This next one is a series I'm personally very excited for. It is the Killer Chocolate Mystery series. This is book 2 in the series. It's called A Nutcracker Nightmare by Christina Romero, and this will be coming out on the 17th. It's supposed to be perfect for fans of Joanne Fluke and Laura Childs. I read the first book in the series last year, and I really enjoyed it. We have 2 twin sisters, Hannah and Alex, and basically they run Murder and Mayhem book and chocolate shops. So they sell like poison themed chocolates, which I think is really Like, I want to go. It sounds like so much fun. And they're busy preparing for the Harrison High School's reunion weekend, where everyone's going to be reuniting and neighbors going to be coming in. But one person that no one can avoid is Kyle, who's the former star quarterback. He's trying to score with Hannah and even threatening her if she doesn't play nice with him. Unfortunately, later on with that party, Alex actually finds the dead body of Kyle, and he's been bludgeoned to death by a nutcracker that the sisters had admired earlier in the night. So Hannah quickly becomes the prime suspect because he was being very fresh with her, and so now she needs to rely on her twin sister, their sleuthing canine Watson, and their old friends and colleagues to help break this case wide open. They're looking through old yearbooks, they're going down memory lane, and Alex is uncovering secrets about Kyle. And I'm just so excited for this. I mean, one, it's a Christmas cozy, so that's amazing in and of itself, but the killer chocolate theme, I cannot wait, and I just really liked the sisters' relationship in the first book, so this one I'm very excited for. Next we have a Parfait Crime, a 5-ingredient mystery. This is book 9 within the series, written by Maya Corrigan, and this will be coming out on October 24th. It involves a granddaughter-grandfather sleuthing duo. So this one involves our main character, Val, and her boyfriend is actually a firefighter trainee, and one day he's helping to put out a house fire when the body of a woman named Jane, who's in this Agatha Christie like book club and like play society, it sounds like she's gonna be like in a play, she was actually found dead, unfortunately, in the home, and he's just really stunned, shocked by this because he personally knew her, and Val's of course really upset. Things take a turn for the worse after this tragic news when a body is actually found in a freezer. So the question is, how did this man end up in the freezer? Who put him there? And then later on it's revealed that Jane, the woman who was found dead in the house fire, was actually killed by other means, so the smoke inhalation was not her cause of death. So now Val and her grandfather are trying to put this together while they enjoy some parfaits. They're trying to solve this, and Val herself will actually be replacing Jane in the play as well, which will give her some extra access to maybe some of the people closest to Jane in her life to see if maybe they have some insight into who might have wanted her dead. I haven't read this series. It sounds really interesting though. Let me know if you have. I'd love to hear your thoughts on any of the books I talk about today. Next we have a Pinnacle Hotel mystery. This is book 2 within the series, written by S.K. Golden. This is called The Socialite's Guide to Death and Dating, and this will be coming out on October 10th, 2023. So this one is historical fiction, it's recommended for fans of Rhys Bowen, who I really love, so I'm excited about this. Our main character in this is Evelyn, and she's actually working on overcoming a fear of agoraphobia. She's been leaving her father's hotel more often, and it's been really hard on her, but she's working through it. She's been going out more with her boyfriend, who's an employee at the hotel, and that kind of helps her to also kind of work through it, maybe to have like someone there who's comforting. And they're actually at this event one night when they decide they want to kind of sneak off, get away from the crowd, and they go out to the garage and they find the body of a judge with a needle nearby. So they call the police. The police get there, and before they can even question Evelyn and her boyfriend about this finding, they find a woman in the back, like the trunk. She's like locked in the trunk, and when they open the trunk, she starts screaming when she sees Evelyn's face, which is obviously really freaky, really disturbing. So Evelyn's like, well, I didn't put her there, but the police are kind of, you know, that's kind of a strange coincidence. And then her father starts to pressure her to break up with her boyfriend, maybe thinks he's a bad influence. The next day the father is actually found in a similar situation where he's found, like, I think there's an attempt on his life, and there's a woman nearby as well. So very interesting clues and like a lot of layers to it. I like that the main character has agoraphobia. I think that's a really like nice addition to the storyline, to recognize people who have that and struggle with that, and to like represent it with a character. I think that's amazing, and I think the cover for this is really beautiful. If you're a fan of Jane Austen, you're gonna like this one. It's called Being a Jane Austen Mystery. It is the final volume of this mystery series, and it's called Jane and the Final Mystery, coming out on October 24th, and it's written by Stephanie Barron. Sounds like it's going to be a very interesting one. This takes place in the early 1800s, and our main character is actually Jane Austen herself, imagined, and she is starting to really struggle with some debilitating health conditions, but her nephew Edward comes to her with this mystery at his like college where someone is actually found dead, and they have this like strange note in their pocket, and the note actually implicates one of Jane's friend's sons. So she gets involved with it to help clear like her friend's son's name and also make sure her nephew is safe. And there's a lot of weird rituals and hazing at the school, so it's not not a great place to be. So Jane is determined to get to the bottom of this mystery for her nephew and her friend's son's sake. So I think this one sounds really interesting. I like the idea for this series a lot. I really want to check this one out myself. Next we have an antique bookshop mystery. It's called Caught on the Book by Laura Gale Black, and this one is coming out on October 3rd, and this is the 4th novel in the antique bookshop mystery series. So our main character in this is Jenna Quinn. This takes place in Hoax Folly, North Carolina, and there's an annual fishing tournament which Jenna Quinn, who's an antique bookseller, is ready to use to reel in some new customers with a fishing themed book display at the festival. Unfortunately, a local author is actually found dead in his booth. And all the fingers are pointing to this man named Frank, who's a former detective with the police department. His soon-to-be ex-wife had been dating the victim, and Frank had been seen arguing with him earlier that day. So now the new detective, Keith, is actually working to try to figure out who did it, because Frank was Keith's former partner and he's really determined that there's no way that he had actually done this. So he asks for Jenna's help, and between the two of them, they are working on trying to solve this, figure out who really killed this poor author. So it sounds like a really good time, really interesting, like a really good springy cozy mystery especially. Definitely an interesting setting with the fishing tournament. I don't know anything about fishing, but I love the idea for this cozy. I think it's really fun. So next we have not one, but 2 books by Michelle Bennington. So she's actually releasing 2 books in October, which, wow, that's going to be a very busy month for her. The first one is called Dumpster Dying. So this is a very unique premise. It is like a supernatural cozy because we do have a ghostly presence. Our main character is Birdie, and she is a widow and hoarder, but she's not quite alone because her husband's ghost actually like haunts her home. I don't know if he follows her out of the home, but her husband's ghost is a central part of this plot. And the only thing that she enjoys more than a yard sale is a good dumpster dive. So one day Birdie is going through the dumpster trying to find some new collections, and she actually stumbles on this beautiful ceramic angel, and she immediately thinks of her friend Jenna. And Jenna is a cashier at a local store that Birdie frequents, and they've really developed a close bond. She kind of thinks of Jenna as a daughter, but when she goes to give her the ceramic angel, she finds out that Jenna is missing. And she's going to do anything she can to figure out where Jenna is and if she's okay. On top of all of this, we have a subplot with a romantic element where someone is actually showing interest in Birdie romantically, and she's wondering, is this the end of her like kind of lonely days, like her single life right now? But she's kind of wondering how her husband, the ghost, is going to react. So very fun, very interesting plotline. I think the supernatural element adds a lot of spice to this, and I really like the cover for this one. And then the second one that is releasing is actually called Widow's Blush, and this is historical fiction, which you guys know I love historical fiction. This one sounds super interesting. Our main character in this is Lady Ravenna Birchfield, and she is assigned the task of discovering who's killing foreign secretaries in England, all while the nation is on the brink of war with Napoleon. I don't have too much information on that one, but I wanted to include it because it sounded really interesting. Historical fiction is always a fun time, I think, and I can't imagine something more stressful than trying to solve murders while on the brink of war. That definitely sounds like a very stressful but very entertaining time for a mystery novel. So next we have one by Amanda Flower, who I really like her writing. I've read a couple of her books now. This one's called Dating Can Be Deadly, an Amish matchmaker mystery. It is book 5 in the series, and it's coming out on the 24th. This one takes place during August, so a nice like late summer cozy mystery. And this one takes place in Ohio, and basically there's this big fair and rodeo and a huge quilting competition. And both Amish and English women alike come together for this to compete. And the competition is fierce, especially when the money for the competition, like the prize money, is doubled. And so Millie, our main character, is enrolled in this competition along with her friend Lois, who is definitely not Amish. She's actually on a dating app all the time now, looking for husband number 5, so she's pretty preoccupied with the app. However, mischief starts to occur when different things are sabotaged in the competition, and then worse off, a quilting judge is actually found dead. So Millie has to kind of poke Lois and be like, hey, get off your app. We need to solve this now because it's getting very serious, far beyond just the quilting competition itself. So sounds like a really interesting mystery. This is one of the series by Amanda Flower that I haven't read yet, but it sounds very entertaining. Next we have a really sweet one. This is part of the Paws and Claws mystery series. It is book 15 in the series, coming out on October 17th, and this is called Pause to Remember by Sophie Kelly. So our main character is Kathleen, and she's a librarian, and she also has magic cats, so they can kind of communicate with her, is my understanding of it. And one day one of her friends is shocked because like this artist co-op that she and like some other artists are part of, they have a water leak, and when they call like a plumber or someone to take care of it, they discover a body. And the police of course are called, and they actually think that the person in like the wall is a woman who disappeared 30 years ago. So we have a cold case, and a friend with a connection to the young woman who disappeared actually asks Kathleen to delve into the mystery and try to solve it because she's worried maybe it'll get swept away and no one will put as much effort into it because maybe it's a cold case. And Kathleen and her magical felines are going to put their thinkers to the test and solve this mystery for her. Love the cover. I mean, this cover is so cute. How could you not look at this and smile, right? It's so adorable. I love the cover for this next one and the title. It's called In the Wick of Time, Magic Candle Shop Mystery. It is book 2 in the series, written by Valona Jones, and this will be coming out on October 17th. And we have another cozy mystery actually with twin sisters that takes place around Christmas time. So apparently that's a little bit of a theme for this one. So our main character in this is Tabby, and she has her twin sister Sage, and they work together on everything. You know, they're very close-knit. This takes place during December in Savannah, Georgia, and they have all these beautiful Christmas displays. There's a riverfront luminary display during the boat parade, and Tabby and Sage, they're busy setting everything up for the celebration. But there's more things on the sisters' minds than the celebration, because Sage and one of her fellow employees are trying to win over and like land this assistant manager job at the plant nursery. But when their boss is found dead and Sage becomes the police's favorite suspect, the twins know that they're going to need a little bit of magic and their sisterhood to solve this murder and clear Sage's name. And quickly, Tabby realizes that there's a lot more problems than they initially thought, because on top of Sage being a suspect for a murder, her boyfriend is actually having a paranormal experience of his own he can't control, because there's like an energy vampire searching for a lost cousin. Her cat also suddenly dislikes her, and every time Tabby hiccups, she turns completely invisible. So a very heavily supernatural cozy mystery. Their suspect list continues to grow, and every day it seems like they find another person with a connection to the boss who might have wanted to off the boss for some reason or another. So both Tabby and Sage are burning the candles at both ends, and they're just trying to keep it together because everything's kind of crumbling all at once. I love the idea for this. This definitely sounds like a very, very supernatural cozy mystery, lots of supernatural elements, and what an adorable cover. I love it. I love it. The next one is called The 12 Books of Christmas, a bibliophile mystery. It's book 17 in the series, written by Kate Carlisle. And this is the first ever Christmas mystery in the bibliophile mystery series out of 17 books, and it's coming out on October 24th. So our main character in this is San Francisco book restoration expert Brooklyn, and her and her husband are actually on this like luxurious vacation to Scotland, and this just sounds like a really interesting mystery. So it's a locked room mystery, which love it. And basically they're in Scotland when they get a call from one of their friends who's actually at Loch Ness, and she is really excited to share that she just got proposed to, and they're actually planning on getting married very soon on New Year's, and they want Brooklyn and her husband to be witnesses. So Brooklyn and her husband are like, yes, we'll be there. They take off, they're getting there. And when they arrive, her friend asks her to look into a mystery because they had 12 books in the library and they have suddenly disappeared, and they're very important books for one reason or another. Not quite sure why, but they're important, and Brooklyn starts to look into that. Unfortunately, as she's looking into this, one of the guests is actually poisoned at the castle, and another one is actually killed with an arrow to the heart. So we have a very tantalizing locked room mystery here. Beautiful cover, Christmas themed, wedding on New Year's Eve. I mean, we have some amazing tropes in this one, so cannot wait. This one looks gorgeous. For those of you who are still wanting some warmer weather, this is a spring cozy mystery. It's called Syrup to No Good. It's a maple syrup mystery, book 2 in the series, written by Catherine Bruns. This will be coming out on Halloween, October 31st. Our main character in this is Layla, and she is the owner of Sappy Endings Farm, and she is really excited because her friend Heather is going to have a bridal shower and she's getting married soon, and she's very excited. She attends the bridal shower, but something happens and Heather's like rich aunt is murdered. And now Heather is panicked because her wedding is coming up. She's maybe grieving. I don't know what kind of relationship they had, but Layla is kind of on this trail trying to figure out what happened, and she's got a suspect list a mile long because I guess her aunt had a lot of enemies. So she is trying to tap the killer before Heather's wedding turns into a nightmare. Really fun, really beautiful, cozy cover. I love it. Next one is from a series I've really enjoyed. It's the Haunted Library Mystery Series, and this one's called Overdue or Die. It's by Alison Brooke, and it's coming out on October 10th. Our main character in this is Carrie Singleton, and she is like a library director, and her library is actually haunted by a ghost that only she and like one other person can see. So I've always liked that. Evelyn is a really cool ghost character, and Carrie is getting ready to actually get married to her fiance. She's very excited, and she takes him along to tour this like mansion to look at some artwork for the library. But while they're there, she's kind of like, wow, this would be a great place for our wedding. But her husband-to-be, I should say, has other thoughts because he actually spots a forgery in the art collection because of his own background in like forgeries and stuff like that. So he's looking at that, he points that out, and then a woman is actually found dead in the art gallery, and Carrie and Dylan have a suspect list a mile long. The more they look into it, the more just, you know, it's overwhelming who could have wanted them dead, but everything keeps leading them back to the art gallery and possibly that forgery. I personally love heist or like art forgery or things like that. Like that's a trope I love, so this one sounds super interesting. There's also an adorable cat named Smokey Joe in this series, so if you're a cat lover, check it out. This next one is one of my most anticipated releases for the year because I love this series. It's a cupcake bakery mystery series by Jen McKinley. This is book 15 in the series. It's called Sugar Plum Poisoned, and it's coming out on the 10th. So not only is this from one of my favorite baking mystery series, but it takes place at Christmas, so could I be happier? The answer is no, I could not be happier. So we basically have two kind of main characters in this. We have Mel and Angie. They are best friends from like a young age. They've been best friends, and they run Fairy Tale Cupcakes, and basically they have this up-and-coming singing sensation, Shelby, who arrives in town for 2 weeks of concert dates, and she actually hires Angie, who is an old friend of hers, and the bakery crew to make cupcakes for the VIP guest lounge every single night. Unfortunately, Mel actually overhears Shelby in a big argument with her manager, but she and the baking crew decide to make the best of their time working with her. And just as they're kind of getting into the job, you know, making their cupcakes, Shelby's manager is found dead, clutching a bit of fabric from a Santa suit and a cupcake. And the bakery crew and Shelby's backup dancers are all dressed in similar Santa costumes, so this fabric doesn't really narrow it down that much, so it's impossible to say who is the killer. But all suspicions are leading back to Shelby, the singer. But Mel and Angie are determined to clear her name because this is Angie's old friend, and they don't believe she did it. They don't think she had anything to do with it. They don't want to see her go behind bars for a crime she didn't commit. I cannot wait for this. It's gonna be good. I just know it's gonna be good. Next we have the 30th release in the Stephanie Plum mystery series. 30 books, that's insane. This one is called Dirty 30 by Janet Evanovich, and this will be coming out on October 31st. So Stephanie Plum is an underappreciated bounty hunter, so a very unique cozy mystery premise, I think. And she's basically hired by this man who's convinced one of his former security guards has run off with a fortune in diamonds. So she is on this trail, and at the same time she's watching her boyfriend's dog, who is determined to eat everything. And we mean everything. We mean the donuts in her car, and we also mean the upholstery in her car. So nothing is safe from this dog's appetite, essentially. And at the same time, her best friend Lulu is also being stalked by a mythological demon, which is like when I read that, I was like, wow, that's an interesting, okay. I was trying to put that together in my brain. So basically, Stephanie and her mom and her grandma are all together, and they're staking this out, proving that 3 generations of women in this family have nerves of steel. So for those of you that love Stephanie Plum, 30 books, that is insane. I have book 1 on my TBR cart, and I'm so intimidated to start it because the series is so long. But I will get to it, I promise. Another Christmas cozy. This one is a bookish Christmas cozy mystery. It's called A Chapter on Murder, an unputdownable bookish cozy Christmas mystery. This is part of the Bookstore Mystery Series, book 3 in the series, written by Sue Minks, and this will be coming out on October 17th. So our main character is like the ultimate bookish sleuth because Jen is not only a mystery writer, but she also runs a bookstore called The Ravenous Readers. And she's trying to drum up business for her store while completing a novel, so you know, small task there. I'm joking, that's a lot on her plate, and the holidays are coming up. And of course, this is whenever, you know, it's always when everything kind of is stacked on your plate at once, and that's when a body is found right outside her shop. And the man has a slip of paper in his pocket, and it has Jen's address on it, which I don't even know what I would think. But of course that kind of makes the police look at Jen kind of suspiciously, and she is determined to now put on her sleuthing hat and to solve this mystery before the holidays and to try to salvage this holiday season, basically. For those of you that are pet lovers, this is a veterinarian cozy mystery series. It's called the Dr. Kate Vet Mysteries, book 3 in the series. It's called Murders of a Feather, and this one will be coming out on October 3rd, and it's written by Elaine Brady. So Dr. Kate is having a rough February. It is rough winters in Hudson Valley, and basically one day she discovers that there is this young couple who were engaged to be married. They were running off together and they were found frozen and dead in like the lake, like iced over, which yeah. On top of that, Dr. Kate's temporary receptionist is actually dead because they have like taken an overdose of this like animal sedative they use at the hospital. And she's just, Dr. Kate's just flummoxed at this point. I mean, this is a lot going on, but things get worse when the police reveal that all of these deaths, these 3 deaths, are homicides. So none of them were accidental. These are not strange tragedies, and we're trying to figure out now, is there a link between these? On top of that, Valentine's Day is right around the corner, and Kate is sounds like she might be alone for the holiday, and she's feeling a little bit down about that. So of course that's a big bummer as well, and she actually stumbles on a connection between the 3 victims, and she starts to go sleuthing into it, and she also might meet somebody along the way that maybe there'll be a little romance there. We'll see. But I love the color scheme for this cover. It's so pretty. And it sounds like Dr. Kate is also taking an injured wild crow under her wing and helping them like nurse back to health, basically, but she's kind of wondering if this is a bad omen at the same time. So we'll see. I love the color scheme for this cover. It's beautiful. The next one I'm so excited for because I just started the series and I love it. And this is Stalking Around the Christmas Tree by Jacqueline Frost. It's part of the Christmas Tree Farm mystery, book 4 in the series, and this will be coming out on the 17th. And our main character in this is Holly White. She's an innkeeper, and it takes place in Mistletoe, Maine. And she is so excited because the Reindeer Games Inn is booming. She has a wedding that's almost here, and there's an annual parade that's about to begin. And on top of that, the town is super excited because the state's ballet company is actually going to be doing several performances of the Nutcracker. But disaster strikes when the lead ballerina, Tiffany, actually shows up dead on a float during the parade with the Rat King's mask nearby. So now Holly has to take up her sleuthing skills to see if she can catch this killer before Christmas and her wedding day. When Holly starts to dig into Tiffany's past, she finds out that she had a ton of secrets. So not only did she have a superfan that no one knew anything about, the show's understudy also says that Tiffany was secretly seeing someone romantically, and there seems to be a couple of rats in the ballet company. On top of that, Holly finds a secret passage leading to Tiffany's dressing room with footprints leading out. And she wonders, is this part of a way that the secret lover got to her, or is this the way the killer got to her? Or both. Either way, this is an amazing Christmas themed cozy. I loved book 1. I highly recommend it, and I can't wait for this. Next, we have one by Donna Andrews. It's called Let It Crow, Let It Crow, Let It Crow. This is part of the Meg Langslow mysteries. It's book 34 in the series, and it will be coming out on the 10th. So Meg is not thrilled because she has been roped into a weaponsmithing competition. She was hoping to kind of simplify Christmas this year. There's already a lot going on, but basically her mentor, he actually hurts his arm or something. He can't compete, so she takes his place. And she's already facing some prejudice because a lot of old school blacksmiths don't think women have any right to be in this competition, but Meg just pushes it aside. She's like, okay, I'm gonna, that's okay, whatever, they can think what they want, I'll show them. She takes her husband and her twin sons, and they go to this like estate where the competition is being thrown, but there's a lot of rivalry, there's a lot of heat that keeps building, there's a lot of people, because this is a small industry, right, so there's a lot of people who already know each other, they've crossed paths, and some of them really don't like each other. So combine that with the fact that weapons are available throughout the location here because it's competition with weapons, and what can go wrong? That is the question this book will be answering. So definitely a very interesting cozy mystery premise. I like the blacksmithing. I think that's really cool, and I think the cover is so much fun with the red. This next one was on one of my most anticipated releases this year. It's called Baking Spirits Bright, a true confections mystery. It's book 2 in the series, written by Sarah Fox, and this will be coming out on October 10th. Our main character in this is a chocolatier. Her name is Becca. This takes place in Vermont, and she's really excited about the upcoming holiday season because she's trying different like flavor experiments in her family shop, like eggnog and all these like delicious cozy holiday flavors. Let me know, what's your favorite holiday food or flavor? I would love to know. I like eggnog, but I'd have to say something like with cinnamon is probably my favorite. But basically Becca is taking place in this Baking Spirits Bright baking competition. She's going to be entering this like model that she's making out of chocolate. She's very excited, but the competition is fierce. There's a lot of bakers and chocolatiers and people in the area. There's also a lot of chocolatiers and people participating, a food blogger, but tempers are starting to flare when some things go wrong at the competition, and someone is actually found dead, and Becca's chocolate like chipper tool is found nearby. So now Becca is the main suspect in this case. How gorgeous is the coloring on this cover? The like artwork for it, the style of it, the colors, everything about this catches my attention. I love it. This one is another series that I really like. This is part of the Shake Shop mystery series by Dana Mentink. It's called Spoon to be Dead, a dessert cozy mystery. It's coming out on October 31st. So this one takes place in Upper Sprocket, Oregon. It's a very unique, quirky town from the first book that I read. Our main character is Trinidad Jones. She runs a shake shop, and she's just trying to get her new shake shop business through the winter, because that's not the best time of year for, you know, like cold desserts, of course. So when she gets offered this gig on a steamboat for a party, she agrees. She's catering the place, but everything just seems to go wrong because her ex-husband bursts in demanding that she helps him because he is being framed for murder, or so he claims. So an interesting part about this series is that Trinidad and the other 2 ex-wives of the same man all live in the same town. And so now the 3 wives, they're actually kind of friendly, and they're actually going to work together to try to clear their ex-husband's name. Because even though he was a jerk, he was probably not a murderer. So they are working together for this, and this one's a nice winter cozy as well. I really loved the writing in the first one. I really need to get, I have book 2 on my TBR card. I need to get to it like now. And last but not least, we have a new release by Maddie Day. It's called Murder Uncorked, a C.C. Barton mystery. And this one will be coming out on October 24th. And this is the first book in the series, brand new mystery series featuring a widowed single mom and recent LA transplant to California wine country. So this is a trend with this video, not just the Christmas mysteries because of the time of year, but twin sisters. This is the 3rd one with twin sisters. Our main character in this is C.C. Barton, and she has recently moved out to wine country in California. She's excited to kind of reinvent herself a bit, and she's also moved to be closer to her twin sister who owns a bed and breakfast. And her twin sister Allie is just slammed right now because it is peak tourist season basically in the area, and Cece is just trying to settle in, and also she's worrying about her college-age daughter because they are estranged. I'm not sure if that has something to do with the fact that she's been recently widowed or if there's something else, maybe the distance, but they are recently estranged, and it's really hurting her heart, you know? She's not in a good place with that. But things go for the worse when there's actually a murder in wine country and the police have their eyes on Cece. So now on top of worrying about her daughter and this huge move and this adjustment to her life, she's now a murder suspect, and there's wildfires that are rampant in the area. So just about everything in her life is being threatened in one way or another. So this sounds like a very high drama start to a cozy mystery series. Really interesting with the wine country setting. I don't know much about wine country, but I think it sounds like it'd be really beautiful. So can you believe it though? 3 twin sister cozy mysteries. What, have I just not noticed that there's a lot of those before, or what do you guys think? Let me know. Anyways, that is the 25th cozy mystery release coming out in October. If you made it this far, thank you for sticking around, and please let me know your top 3 most excited releases for this October. I'm so excited myself. I will comment down below what my top 3 are. Leave me a comment with your top 3 down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I do these videos every single month on my channel. I just love it. It's a passion of mine, and I also do a lot of cozy mystery, and thriller content on the channel. So if you like a mystery, you'll love this channel. Hit subscribe, stick around, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!